Brand Innovators team continue to outdo yourself. I just, continue to be amazed at how you have innovated in a time of virtual conferences. And this is a great one. You guys have done a great job assembling some amazing speakers today. So thank you. It's a real honor to share the virtual stage with the incredible marketing leader, Brad Haley, Chief Marketing Officer of IHOP. I've gotten to know Brad really well over the last few weeks. And, we have a lot to be able to share today. My name, as Pearl introduced, is Justin Gutschmidt, the head of national sales for Premion. Our business was really excited to participate in today's event just due to the number of client partnerships we have in the restaurant category. As an OTT leader in advertising, it's been essential for us to help this whole industry really navigate the evolving television viewing habits and reach local streaming audiences during a very complex year. Brad and I have assembled some great questions today, and I really do look forward to him sharing, what it means to take a brand in these times and make it successful. And the iconic IHOP is really one to look at. So, Brad, you ready to get started?
Sure, let's go.
All right. So let me start by just mentioning the fact that I've been a very long time fan of IHOP, place that I went to and cherished the memories from my childhood, and fortunate enough to be able to share those same experiences with my kids today. So it really is an amazing restaurant that has been part of my life, and I was very eager to talk with you about the brand and things that you've done to take it to the next level. So why don't we start with just telling me a little bit about the brand mission, help us understand how you're steering it moving forward.
Sure, Justin, and we appreciate your business, by the way. So thank you.
If I could eat candied bacon pancakes every day, I would.
That'd be great. Well, let's see. Our brand purpose is really to welcome all people to pancake together under our roof. And pancake is. Pancakes treated as a verb there deliberately because it represents a lot of things. Everyone loves pancakes. Everyone loves the experience, and it just gives people a warm, fluffy feeling. So built into our brand purpose, and obviously, as a brand in the family dining space, our goal is really to give people this kind of warm and fluffy experience when they come in. It should be a memorable experience, as you outlined, Justin, where you've been coming in for years. Now that you have children of your own, you're that pattern, and that's what we've seen. We're a 63-year-old brand now. We've seen that happen for many generations, and the world changed, so we can't give that experience as easy for people in a space because of the concern in the world, but we've developed our off-premise business so that people can still have an opportunity to have that brand experience, so that shared brand experience at home, and particularly in these times, something to make them feel happy, or happy, as we like to call it. To answer the second part of your question, is my when I started a little over 3 years ago was to try to restore the brand's rightful place in popular culture, and just make it a bit more relevant for today's guests. We have a broad range of, as we discussed, children are coming in today with their parents. As they get older, they come back to the restaurant. As teenagers, they may come in after school. As young adults, they may come in after hours because many of the restaurants are open 24 hours. They have kids and of their own on the side over. But the brand had become a bit invisible in our culture, and we've worked hard to again get it back in its rightful place.
Yeah, it absolutely has been a time where many people have appreciated some comfort food, and we continue to do so. Now the last few months have obviously been hard on every business. In many ways, has put everyone on the same playing field. But it's specifically been impactful, and I would say that you would agree that the restaurant category was one of the hardest hit from COVID. So, let's talk a little bit about how IHOP has approached the pandemic and really adjusted to changing consumer needs during this time.
Yeah. Well, as you said, it's the restaurant industry was hit particularly hard, and service restaurants probably the hardest of most because they were based. You come in, you bring your family The wait's kind of part of the venture, anticipation, and then you come in and you get the food from a server that you may have a relationship with, and obviously that was kind of turned on its head in more or less the blink of an eye. So the brand had to pivot. Many in the industry had to pivot. The first pivot, of course, was from largely a dine-in business to initially exclusively an off-premise business, and that took obviously a lot of changes. We had done a lot of the work up front on online ordering capabilities, partnering with delivery service provider. We even had packaging developed that was award-winning packaging to be able to keep a two-part container that keeps our pancakes warm on the upper layer, and kind of the meat and eggs and potatoes underneath, and the part between is vented, so everything stays hot and moist and doesn't get soggy. So we put a lot of time and effort into all of that, so you get warm and fluffy pancakes at home, just like you would. So all that work was done, but nonetheless, it was a fairly small percentage of our sales leading up to the pandemic, and literally again became 100%. So that was a part of that was the operations team kind of turning on a dime and putting curbside pickup in many, many locations. That was their big shift. And of course, as time went by and restaurants were allowed to offer outside seating, or before dine-in was open, a lot of restaurants and turned very quickly to create outside seating capacity for guests. Still do have that. Obviously, dining rooms are opening across the country, fits and starts depending upon the virus. But that was probably pivot number one. Pivot number two for us was shifting from a large national advertising and media program to one that was more localized, more digital, something that targeted based on those various dining room opening restrictions. They varied across the country. They came on at different times. So it wasn't a one-size-fits-all message by any means. So we pivoted to media, addressable media, digital media, paid social, and more personalized media and marketing as well. So those were a couple of big. Third one probably was streamlining our menu. We streamlined our menu for a bunch of reasons. We had kind of new servers and restaurant teamers as ones that may have come back after a time when the restaurants were closed. So we needed to be a simpler menu to execute. It also needed to be one guests felt more 12-page kind of multi-use menu to a 2-page piece of paper sided that was paper menu, that so people could feel comfortable and safe that it was something before and made perhaps clean multiple times. So simplifying the menu was probably the third big pivot. And then of course messaging changed. I know we may talk about that in a minute, but our messaging went from kind of a new interesting food item that we have, whether it be a new pan or a lunch dinner item, to one that was more about safety and security of our guests and our restaurant team members.
It's I think rare to have a restaurant have won an award for its to-go packaging before the pandemic. I would say that was a major advantage that has played to your favor, and I know that it's been very useful to everyone who's getting the food off premise. Just tell me really quick about the franchises. There's obviously a big piece of how the business operates. How have they reacted to kind of the new approach, whether it's your menu or off premise? Have they taken any unique approaches that you've seen across the country?
Yeah, well, they understood the severity of the situation for kind of full service restaurant like ours, and reacted very. We have franchise committees that work with us on a broad spectrum of business, from operations to marketing to development to IT and technology. So we meet with them on a regular basis, and obviously that's a process at time. Not that this was that situation. This was a situation where we had to again pivot. In some cases, things maybe several months of discussion and evaluation. We had to make decisions. Move, if not overnight, certainly within a matter of days or weeks. And the franchisees were right there with us. They tested a lot of things. They suggested a lot of things. So coming up a reduced menu. It was such a significant reduction very quickly. That's something that would cause a lot of conversation, because things that sell well in parts of the country may not sell well in others. But this was something that was absolutely the right thing to do. So everyone came together, moved quickly, got to a place on the menu, and again shifted to premise, shifted to curbside pickup, and creating outside seating capacity, seating space overnight or a matter of days, when it was not something that was even part of our. It's almost like literally opening another, if you will. It operates a bit than our traditional dine-in and business. So I think, leaves, and it was a partnership, and we wouldn't be able to as quickly as if it was.
Sorry, but there was maybe a bit of delay there. You touched on the messaging before, and the approach that everyone took once this started to happen, and in March, where all of a sudden there was a lot of concerns throughout the country. People were not sure what was safe, what was not safe. It was the immediate reaction of brands that really started, allowing them to have the right voice during that time. So help me understand, how did your messaging really shift immediately, and where do you see it at today? Because we're really not out of this yet, and yet we all want to get back to some form of normalcy. So just if you could, deepen our understanding of your messaging, that would be great.
Sure. Well, I think our message was largely about kind of a window-driven or event-driven calendar, where we're largely based on some new innovation, whether it would be, again, a breakfast pancake-driven innovation or something available for lunch, dinner. That was the way we approached the calendar, and it had been worked well for us for a number of years. And then suddenly, guest needs change. We did a lot of insights work, a lot of conference, and built around a dime to one of initially kind of a safety message about what we were doing in the restaurants from a cleanliness and sanitation standpoint, what we were doing from a mask wearing standpoint, and creating as possible kind of environment, single use menu, et cetera. So all that was developed very quickly, if it was in place, and communicated as part of our messaging. So that was kind of message job number one. Message job number two was communicate that we were a place that people maybe hadn't thought of for off-premise before. Again, we had on sales before, but it was such a in-restaurant familial experience that a lot of people hadn't thought of us as an off-premise. So we developed off-premise options for people that were appropriate for the COVID pandemic world. Things like we call them family feasts. So something where you could get a platter of friends, various breakfast meats, of course, or French or or any of our other items. They were served in kind of in a large format, which was really what we're looking for. That was developed very quickly, and of course that would be communicated. And part of those communications included free delivery. We delivery periodically the pandemic do, because that was a way to let people know that was IHOP a good option for takeout and delivery. It was something that we would kind of reduce the barrier to trial by funding the delivery costs as well. For the first two kind of most critical jobs, communication jobs, right out of the gate when everything happened. I think the next step was based again on our guests' insights and needs. We learned that they, not a big surprise, and when people are under stress, they want the familiar. They want something that will give them comfort. So we promoted more of our kind of old standbys, if you will, the things that people may have remembered eating for years, one of their favorite things when they come to IHOP. So we deliberately promoted these comfort food items on our menu, of which there are many. So that was sort of the third step in the process. And now that people have kind of reached that cabin fever stage, we're starting to shift into kind of term messaging that we've been working on pre-COVID. For example, are developing the PM day part, so people to think about IHOP as more to breakfast options. Something we've been working on for a few years now. You may remember we launched our new steak, ultimate steak burgers that created a bit of media news when we had our IHOP campaign, and a lot of people thought we were really changing our name to IHOP. But those are
convinced.
they're black Angus. They're 100% U.S. choice. They're all natural burgers. They're smashed on a grill. We butter and grill our brioche buns to them. We have a special sauce that's made in every. We had to make great burgers. That was really step one in developing our PM business. That was 2 years ago. Last to be a phenomenon, which helped. Here we developed an all-natural buttermilk crispy chicken. That was step two in the process. And this year we've rolled out our IHOPy Hour, which is our happy hour program. It's from 2 in all months. And once we have menu items for the people today in the form of steak burgers and our buttermilk crispy chicken, then time to push trial and way. And IHOPy Hours, the entrees are available at $5 or $6 in some areas, and we have great menu items, the favorites, not just sort of secondary items in our menu. They're the popular items in our menu available for $6. So that's designed again to kind of reduce the barrier for people to make that last step into thinking, maybe I'll give IHOP a try this afternoon or this evening instead of just for breakfast. So we're sort of now moving, I think, after our guests seem ready for us to give something new and tell a different, rather than just them of their old favorites. And that's kind of where we're shifting now. And they're ready for more innovation now. And you'll start to see that show up our menus in the future.
Yeah, there's really some incredible innovations that you've come up with there. And as I started saying before, you be convinced on the IHOP. I thought that was officially the new name. I was waiting for the new sentence to go up.
You weren't alone.
Yeah. So the messaging is critical. Adjusting to the environment, realizing the new voice that you needed as a brand. So the natural, follow up is the media mix in getting that out to reach the right audience. I know television has been a big piece of your strategy over the years. 40% of households no longer subscribe to cable or satellite. We're in a kind of an evolving era of television. How does your media mix change so that you can effectively reach the right audience with those new messages?
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned earlier, we because of the pandemic, we shifted from actually national plan to a localized one, an addressable one, just because of various states of dining room capacities around the country. But you're absolutely right that there's just the long-term trend is still linear television is in a state of decline, and OTT and streaming is increasing significantly, and I think in many ways probably aided by people being homebound during the pandemic. I think the last number I saw was that OTT and streamings will approach 35% maybe even of viewership by 2025, and during that time period, it will actually supplant linear television as a primary video. Moving with it, we've been moving with that trend since it began, and we like it because it gives us opportunity to be more targeted, to have more of a closed loop attribution, if you will, as we targeted with the messaging. We can see how people react to it but more clearly because it's digital. It's not kind of a one size fits all message that serve to people that may have no intention of using your brand or even be regardless of the messaging. So there's no wasted impressions with it. So we're big fans of it, and we'll continue to invest more in it as the balls go with it.
It's amazing how quick it has continued to change. It's accelerated as a result of the pandemic, and I think we're going to continue to see that shift happen. And brands are all, finding the advantages of that new capability to have the best of TV combined with the best of digital. You mentioned before the overall change in your strategy that happened from national to local, and it can kind of continues to evolve based on how the United States is rebounding in different markets, different times. Is there anything you want to expand there as far as how you see being more effective with a local or regional plan compared to national strategies?
Well, as I said, it's mainly there's more. There's a better ROI associated with that kind of media because you can be more targeted. You can ask to people, will either are your customers or maybe likely to be your customers because it's digital. You're serving it literally to kind of specific groups of people as opposed to broad demographics. Say so the great is the for us, obviously, in the family dining segment, families are a big we want to reach. Again, digital gives us a way to do that in a more accurate way than a broad linear buy on broadcast or cable. And the second group that we're targeting these days is because because again, there's a life cycle of our brand that we're fortunate to have a broad representation from kids of a young age all the way up to parents take kids to IHOP to give their kids a break. So we're fortunate that we've got a broad cross section of the population. But is obviously the future, so that's one of our other key targets as well.
Yeah, you talked just a little bit about the audience, and I'd love to hear more, as you see your most important audiences evolving in that mix. Families have been critical for a long time, but who else do you really try to get in front of, and how do you effectively do that?
Well, it's really those two. And we do it with them. Obviously, we also with the products that we offer and the that we serve and partners too. We've done we've time itself, and we know that our families have as well. When we've partnered with studio properties over the last few years, we've partnered with the Grinch and the family. We've partnered with Adam's Family, the animated came out last year, and our culinary teams have creating menu items that are thematically connect to the film. So green cake, the Grinch, for example, and pancakes with purple icing for the Adams Family that looked a little spooky. It was even shaped in an often shaped family. It was create an experience for go to a film and kind of extend that experience into an IHOP. It goes both ways. Obviously, in the current world, the entertainments have been as dining restaurants have been, but we hope that change over. And if it doesn't, we'll have takeout food that's thematically linked to a movie that you may be watching in the comfort of your own home streaming.
Absolutely, and I know not a lot of families, took that option as theaters were not an option, and many movies started coming straight to streaming. So it's interesting to see how that will continue to play out. You've had a lot of success in your career, and the IHOP brand has had many successes. What would you say have been some of the most recent, highlights or successes that you're proud of sharing?
Well, we again, a big part of what we focus on is keeping the brand culturally relevant and sort of what we do with brands of activations and that like IHOP did. Obviously, that's a kind of a decade sort of a phenomenon that can't be replicated all the time, unfortunately. But a lot of billion impressions that earned media impressions. It's still a high water mark that we continue. But most recently, I think just before COVID hit, or really during that time period, we had launched cereal pancakes, a fun menu item. It had crunch and cinnamon toast on and in cakes with other toppings, and it was obviously multi-generational. Though obviously kids love cereal, it's something that I think we all grew with as well. So it was a fun product that's actually on our brand home. But we like to have some, again, sort of an activation to additional interest, media interest in what we're doing. Developed, we had pancakes, so we developed a pancake cereal called Pan Flakes. And we were prepared to launch that on a limited scale, but again, when those plans were put on hold, but TikTok actually sort of spurred a mini movement towards sort of DIY mini. People were making pancakes in whole, and we happen to have Pan Flakes idea developed that again we had for the pandemic to the packaging, and it became quite a big media. We had people that signed up to be close friends of the brand, so we can keep them updated on the status of Pan Flakes. But we still hope to bring it to the world in the future in form. So it sounds pancake flavor and shape cereal for the world. So that was kind of a fun that we kind of we made most of an idea that we would have been fun to bring to the world, and fortunately it kind of developed legs on its own on TikTok, so we were able to share it with the world. But again, we still bring that to the world in physical form here in the future. I'd say is just the work we've done again to develop our PM, which is a multi-year effort with burgers, and now again our IHOP programs to get people to come and during the afternoon and well into the evening, 2 to 10 p.m. With great delicious entrees for $6. That's kind of step 3 in the process, and there'll be more to come.
Yeah, I can't imagine it was easy transitioning a business that was known for breakfast into the PM, part of the day. And I think you've done an incredible job to do so. It's the brand itself is kind of recognized as a family dining segment. How do you see the future of that category shaping up?
Well, I think the future is at least for the foreseeable future a continuation of where we are now. I think it's a combination of dine-in and off-premise much bigger percentage of our sales than, but we think continuing for the foreseeable future. All sites we see from our guests and just kind of restaurant guests in general indicate there's still a significant percentage of the population that's concerned about dining in. Regardless of whether you're open for business and you can accept people in your dining room or not, there's just people that will continue to be uncomfortable for some period of time. And they'll want to avail themselves of off-premise, whether it be delivery or takeout or whatever. So that'll continue to be a significant part of our business. And I think our segment, family dining segment for the foreseeable future, hopefully again balanced by people increasingly being comfortable with the dine-in experience, just because they have fond memories of those experiences and want to get back to them. Obviously, we as long as our brand and other brands can give them a comfort that we can deliver that in a safe environment with things like a single-use menu, with cleaning and sanitation practices, with wearing masks, et cetera, and to the extent possible, kind of contactless and other interactions.
Absolutely. Well, I see some great questions rolling in here, and I'm looking forward to going through a few of these. But just the last thing I'll ask is, what are you most excited for this coming year? I think is going to be interesting. It's hard to predict exactly how it will play out, but what gets you excited about the coming year?
Well, I think you kind of touched on, Justin. The thing that would be exciting for me is if we become a predictable. But I think there is hopefully there's a vaccine in our future. People will be comfortable kind of getting back to some normality again. The world's maybe changed forever for times, so it will absolutely be the new normal. But hopefully people get back somewhat closer to the old behaviors. And we'll be able to do the things that we are fun to do and that we know our guests enjoy. Things like more innovation and kind of and giving people an opportunity to be happy again in our restaurant. To that, then we think we've done our jobs.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so we hopefully have time for just a few of these questions. I'll kick it off with the first one here, which is, how do you ensure team members feel engaged and inspired in a remote working world? So, I think that's impacted your business a little differently. So just tell me how in general you've kept your employees feeling safe, I think, first and foremost, and continue to be engaged in this new environment.
Yeah. Do you think, Justin, that's referring to corporate kind of our?
It's probably a little bit of both.
Teams?
Yeah, I think it's both the the staff, the restaurants, as well as your corporate staff.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll start with I guess my team at corporate. Obviously, our headquarters offices are closed. They have been. They're open for things like test kitchen work, but we're maintaining social distances. But people, for the most part, continuing to work from home and meeting virtually. We were fortunate. The team had been together for the entire team, with a few exceptions, have been together for 3 years. So we knew each other. We had a relationship. So it was helpful for us to be able to continue that relationship just in a virtual way. So I think that helped people sort of stay engaged because they had those face-to-face relationships before it went into virtual. And being able to work at home gives them obviously a feeling of comfort and safety as well, and that's continuing for the foreseeable future. I think the way that they derive probably feeling of satisfaction about the work is when projects they've been able to work on for some period of time. Life is the thing that always made the marketing world fun is that accomplishment when you can work on something for a while and then it goes out into the world and people experience it for themselves. It's not kind of working away in a job where people may never see your work outside of the walls you're in. But I think people, as their projects come to life, I think that's when they see the fun and derive the reward from doing so.
Well, I see Perla's video, which usually means like the Oscar music. That's her cue. But I'm going to get in one last question, just because I think it's a good one. That somebody noticed all the charitable events and partnerships that you've done, which I think is incredible, and how it's impacting local communities. And the question just came in: if this is something you look to continue making part of your strategy in 2021.
No, absolutely. We've contributed. We've had various charitable partners for a variety of years. Probably our biggest one is Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals, and they've been our primary partner, but others as well that we contribute to, and we plan to continue that going forward. Obviously, one of our biggest fundraisers was a national pancake, and it was an opportunity we gave free pancakes on that day, and encourage people to donate to our charity. That was our biggest single fundraiser. Well, obviously, in the current event we're in, we're not in a position to have kind of a single day traffic driving event. So we're doing that for next year, and we'll be announcing fairly soon what that is. But it's a much safer way that we'll be just generating donations for our partners. But that's a big part of what we do, and family and children-based charities are at the center of that.
Yeah, that's incredible. Thanks. Brad, this has been enlightening. I have really enjoyed the conversation. I hope everyone has some really great takeaways today. You have done incredible work with the IHOP brand, and keep it up. Good things to come.
Good. Well, thank you very much, Justin. Appreciate it. And Pearl.
Yeah, great job. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, you're a legend. I mean, like, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you're behind some of those risque commercials that Carl's Jr.'s that used to have with Paris Hilton. And then a couple years ago, you had this fun PR stunt with changing the IHOP name to IHOP. When you were promoting your burgers, and everybody thought it was going to be a real thing. That was crazy with all the earned media you got from that. You didn't bring that up, but it's a huge thing. I don't know if you're going to have another stunt coming up, maybe end of year, the next year, but I really would be excited to see it. You come up with some really innovative things. Yeah.
Thanks. We like to flip expectations with all of our pancakes, so you can always expect a few surprises from us in the future.
I can't wait. I'll keep an eye on you.
Thanks. All right. Thanks, everybody. Enjoyed it.
Thanks so much.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Justin. You did great. All right. We'll see you both soon, hopefully.
Thanks, everybody.